back with Rogue Trader. Let's go see what this little rebellion is all about. Well, that's pleasant. Abelard reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startlingly human gesture and a telling one. A rare moment where he allows his age and weariness to show through his armor-like veneer of self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. Did you hear they were shouting your name? Of course they were. The organization of the daily routine life of the ship rests upon my shoulders. The mountain of challenges and problems from which I endeavor to insulate you, Lord Captain. The situation on the lower decks has been a cause for concern. I have intervened personally on more than one occasion. That must be why they remember me. They do not know your face. To them you are akin to a creature of legend, one who has stood on the steps of the Golden Throne, no less. Whereas I am the man whose name is attached to every order, docking rations or lowering a base heating. Well, let's keep moving. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
I was born in this sector and it looks like I'll die here too.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
The sound of a heated discussion reverberates through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Arvilla Vent on the ship's enforcers is barring the path of a heavily built assault unit officer. Judging by the expression and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached the boiling point. I have my orders to put an end to the unrest and purge this sector. You can take your orders and shove them. This is my deck and my sector. There are only 3 people who can waltz here without my express permission. The first officer, the Rogue Trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all my lessons fall on deaf ears. Abelard mutters in crabby approval. Did not clarify whether he means Lord Officer Vent, or the officer looming over her, or both. Your ladyship. Noticing the 2 junior officers snap to attention and salute their subordinates, following in pursuit a moment later. What's the situation? Your ladyship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allow. I want to speak to the strikers. Abelard's mouth twists, but he restrains himself and says nothing. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck. Hope gleams Lieutenant Vent's eyes. This could go badly.
I always keep my options open. Is there money to be made?
Dozen pair of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation from the barely discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. A whisper passes through the crowd and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd, an elderly woman and 2 men. Thieves must be their leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you have come down to us. Tell me what is troubling you. Why are you striking? Striking? That's news to us, your ladyship, says the tall, thin man in worker's garb. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. Shut up, Rivet, snaps the old woman, who turns her hostile dark eyes on you. Here's the deal, your ladyship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. One wrong word and they're reaching for the batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to the whole bay for a week at a time, so we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers. The old woman spits on the floor and rubs at the spittle with the toe of her worn-out shoe. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see sadness well in her eyes when the children's death are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself. It is true. Vent is the only enforcer officer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks and who grew up amidships and has no feeling toward us. Your ladyship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers, your servants. We've plotted no disorder. We went on strike openly, and now we've guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. The persecution started apropos of nothing, you say? I was told that one of you was found in possession of a cultist amulet, and that there are heretics hiding here. A cultist amulet? What's that? Gewgaw they found on the dead drunkard? If it was something evil or forbidden, we sure didn't know. The enforcers just said they were looking for heretics among us, and anyone obstructing their investigation would be punished. But how could there be heretics here? We know our own people. There have been no new faces around. Definitely not, and if there were, we'd be the first to report them. As for this amulet or whatever it is, they took it off a dead body. There are no cultists still breathing in our sector, that's for sure. But when that fight broke out, some enterprising folks looted the bodies. The boots came back with nobody's ever tread these decks and boots so fine. I can tell you that. Seems to me these cultists have better commanders than us. Oh, hang on, let me read that. The boots they came back with, nobody's ever tread these decks and boots so fine. I could tell you that. Okay, that sounds better. Oh yeah? Those boots really were fine, and there were no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We don't need any amulets around here. We all worship the Emperor, and when we're working, we bow down to the machine spirits of the large and small transformers and the servo motor. The same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by a tech priest who came calling. Believe us, your ladyship, we are people of faith. Naive children, weren't you taught from an early age about the dangers of the Arch Enemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? We were told, Holy Sister, but it was long ago. The last time we saw a confessor in our sector, it was just after I'd had my 3rd little one. That is regrettable, but you cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of the Holy Fathers. Who will you blame when beasts crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father who is not here, or the scavenger who brought evil down on himself and his neighbors? Abelard, do you have anything to add? I authorize the use of all necessary measures to locate Chaos Worshippers hiding in this sector. The specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me. Abelard frowns, clearly disgruntled at having to explain himself in the workers' presence. Nevertheless, I am certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores. They are an enemy and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action. We were attacked on the way here. How do you explain that? Here's an explanation for you. The people have been pushed to their limit, and now they're lashing out, as if we don't know why these top-deck units are being sent down here, like the one there that the lieutenant won't let past. Our clans are all inside the bay that's been sealed off. The lower decks are big. I'm sure there are some people who've had just about enough. We're getting it from all sides, and the soldiers have encircled the ones who have risen up. The death squad is just right. It's no wonder folks are lashing out. The words seem sincere to you. Their body language and glance straight between them reveal that the news of the attack has shocked them. What changes do you want? Would you look at this? The exalted Lord Captain herself is asking us Spilldrench what we want. Well, here's what. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here, and we want to be armed. Give us arms, we'll govern ourselves. We'll let spend ourselves if these cultists do show their faces. I've been leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of these club-wielding thugs can only improve things around here. You've gone too far, old man. They'll never let the maggots on the lower deck live without enforcers breathing down their necks. They probably even insist on enforcers on the upper decks, too. As for weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first aid's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbor out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop hassling us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the cultist bodies, and we'll talk to them, one lower deck to another. If there are any more of those damned ambulants, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves. You speak for yourself and your clan, I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures, I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the Anointed One turns her back, these brutes will be on us even harder than before, all because we dared speak out. The tall worker's eyes dart between the two arguing leaders. Every few seconds, he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time he falls silent, simply making a few vague noises of approval. Thoughts, Abelard? The story about going scavenging for boots and accidentally picking up a heretical amulet doesn't convince me. These people were moments away from rebelling and possibly becoming minions of the Archenemy. We must not give them what they want, even if they did acquire something innocently, purely out of their own stupidity. That does not mean they are not tainted with corruption. What begins as petty thievery can turn into a far graver problem. I have seen it before. Abelard's face darkens momentarily. In my second war, there was a sergeant in the Imperial Guard regiment that was stationed nearby. The sergeant took an ordinary pocket knife from the body of a heretic, and his whole unit lost their lives for it. When they finally managed to break into the barracks, they found not a single survivor. Only the pocket knife, which had grown through all the rows of beds like a metal choking vine. So when it comes to scavengers and malcontents, strikers, or whatever, they'll turn into my next. Or whatever they'll turn into next. My verdict is simple. Give them no quarter. Ooh. And it's a tough choice, but we're going to do this one. Spreading anarchy on a ship is the first step toward embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands and we will consider the rest. The tall worker they call Ribbit shrugs and casts a sidelong and look at the old woman. Oh, Nan, listen. Listen! The Lord Captain herself has come down to us and is offering concessions. I don't know a single person in the whole depot for who's ever stood next to the rogue trader, let alone talk to them. Back down. Now's no time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Listen to us, old Nan. The three clans of Depot 4 auto act as one. We've made our minds. It's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcers or give us weapons. We don't need any of that. The old woman hisses in dissatisfaction. You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman, but I'll shut up. I will indeed. I won't go against two clan leaders on my own. I want to make peace with the enforcers. If you want to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace. That's great, just fantastic. Lord Captain, we're all agreed. Then it's decided. The persecution will stop, and I'll expect you to assist in locating any remaining amulets or weapons left by the cultists. Your ladyship, thank you. You have not abandoned us lower deckers. You came yourself and settled everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Of course, your ladyship. We'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers, and we'll leave no stone unturned.
Keep your wits about you.
open that door yet. Eventually, something's going to happen. Possibly if I'd have picked wrong.
I always have a backup plan. Always keep your eye on the prize.
Alright, let's get out of here.
Pay attention.
Stopping unexpectedly, Abelard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses your other companion, saying, I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please, give us a moment. Abelard looks at you at last, as his last vestiges of restraint vanish. Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? You kowtowed to the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see your future at the helm of the Von Valencius Protectorate? Let's talk about your role in all this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene. Remember, Lord Captain Theodora. Do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers while she dedicated herself to her grand designs for the Protectorate, as any true strategist and rogue trader ought. Maybe if Theodora had spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There is a new Lord Captain aboard the ship now, and I will not repeat her mistake. Abelard looks at you, stunned, exhales loudly, then he nods curtly. I commend your decisiveness, but I am uncomfortable with introducing new protocols in the midst of a crisis. And I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself. The prosperity of the Von Valencius Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. They create impulse. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left behind everything I had known, everything my family had known. I had come from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods to distant frontiers, on scouting voyages, and the advancement of the entire Protectorate rested on my shoulders. And then suddenly, everything that had been built over the years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hanger on a seismically active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all, Rogue. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All of this has come as a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid the new rogue trader, to aid you. to find your footing as quickly as possible. And to do that, I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excess to requirements. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader. I accept it and start living in the new world, a world where Theodora is gone and where you and I have new decisions to make. Yes, Lord Captain. Your resolve is admirable and demonstrates strong leadership. I shall remember this moment, should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. Now, please, let us leave these lower decks. If the Rogue Trader desires to stretch her legs, there are far more suitable places. Alright. Leveled up those two. Wow, that didn't take long. Let's do that.
I always keep my options open.
Alright. Can I get into the damn prison planet now? As the ship makes its way through the star system, a strange fatigue falls over you. Your eyelids grow heavy, and the quill you have been using to draw up yet another order falls from your hand. You raise your head with a start. Someone else is here in your study. You stand up and stare at dozens upon dozens of corpses surrounding you. Among their number, you recognize the disfigured and bloody face of those who died on the ship's bridge, and those you met in your previous life. How is this possible? Where are the enforcers posted to stand guard? It matters not. You are alone against a horde of heretics risen from the darkness to take your life. As of its own accord, the shards lying on the edge of the desk, the sole remnant of Conrad Vogtger's weapon slips in your hand. The metal is searing cold. The dead sway from side to side, closing in around you in a nightmarishly slow advance. Kneel before the Rogue Trader. Your lives belong to me. All you hear in response is unintelligible voices, whispers, means, and derisive laughter. Anger ignites your chest, and you clutch the shard, which ravenously bites into your palm with its sharp edge. An unbearably bright light floods everything around you, and you find yourself surrounded by groveling minions, their bodies shivering in your mere presence. Your hands no longer hold a pitiful shard, but a majestic and intricate weapon, skillfully crafted sword with strange, unnerving proportions, a curved design and an unusual hilt adorned with the image of a closed eye. The eye opens wide, revealing a gaze so ancient and dark that it steals your breath away. You have felt this gaze before, there on the bridge, and the voice that appears in your mind only confirms your guess. The tapestry is woven, the path is chosen. Accept your fate, champion. Never! Your body refuses to obey your mind. The handle feels as if it has become one with your hands, and the gaze of the demonic eye sets your very soul ablaze. Resisting your fate is futile. You scream as you feel your soul burn away to ash. You awaken from the vision, kneeling next to your desk, clothes drenched in sweat and with a sour taste on your tongue. Your head is ringing, and you struggle to recall those faces and the image of the sword in your hands. Only the deep cut in your palm and the bloodied shard lying on the floor remind you of what just transpired. Oh, that's fine. You'd rather die than touch that thing again. So you reach a shaking hand for your box and call for a servitor. Now you just have to wait for the mindless automaton to arrive, pick up the cursed artifact, head for the nearest airlock to be claimed by the void. I'm okay with that. Alright, let's get out of here. Back to the bridge. Alright, let's get to this damn planet and get my tech priest. The starport greets you with the din of ordnance and the smell of explosive tickles your nostrils. It is difficult to tell through the smoke who is firing at whom. Halt! Weapons on the ground or I'm firing! A man in a torn and dirty uniform hobbles towards you from behind chunks of rock crumpled plasteel. His cracked helmet is adorned with a crooked label that reads Sergeant Malgore. Alright, so our skies are on lockdown. The rebels are shooting down anything that flies. You lot just happen to land in our rear without a scratch to show for it? And a shuttle like that? Where'd you get it? Stolen from the palace, is it? He is visibly awed by the resplendent gold of your transport. Grab him, lads. We've got ourselves a rebel landing force. By the holy throne, what is this mess? They're in a rough spot, old man. Go easy. You're mistaken. I am the rogue trader of House von Valencius. The soldier grows more and more pale with every word you say. As soon as you are done speaking, he falls to his knees. My mistake, your ladyship. Didn't recognize you, ma'am. Please pardon my blunder. It's a blood bath in here. A frag grenade cuts off the rest of the sergeant's words. Shrapnel flies everywhere with a piercing screech. One of the soldiers falls to the ground, clutching the remains of his forearm that is now adorned with crimson tatters. Blood is pouring out of the stump, and the soldier's agony is short-lived. The sergeant curses and hastily says an army prayer for the dead. Pardon me, ma'am. Sergeant Last Malgore reporting. My unit is holding the starport on the governor's orders. How may I serve? What is going on here? Unrest, ma'am. Armed rebellion in both capital and the provinces. First the lower levels sparked, then went up the spires. They hit the box hubs, the arsenals, the mag train stations. Then Felix tore off his mask, precisely because he knew about the trouble on Ricard Minors. He knew that none of our allies would come to our aid. Cassia lets out a sorrowful sigh. You may continue your report, peasant. My unit was here when it all went to the Groxes. The tech priests linked to the satellites reported sightings of strange void ships in the system. They were orbiting the star until one of them set course, landing on Ricard Majoris. The governor took precautionary measures in order to increase security at the key facilities. Everyone knows that whenever something's not right, you better double the ward in details. The alarm was raised, and we were sent to secure the starport. It's the only reason we were able to hold it. Well, I've seen that. They're crushing us, the scumbags. It's been a whole turn since the last reinforcements came in. We're running low on ammo. Every other fighter is wounded. I don't know how bad it is in the streets, but they'll drive us out of here any minute. Who are you, anyway? Sergeant Last Malgore, ma'am. 11th generation loyal soldier of House Winterscale. Awarded 3 commendations for faultless service. Ever since the olden days, his lordship, the rogue trader, has recruited soldiers and shipwrights in Ricard Minoris, so there is no great honor for Ricardian than serving his lordship with diligence. And what caused this rebellion? Ill thoughts, ma'am. We've fallen on hard times. The ground keeps shaking. Things keep exploding. People are scared. They've forgotten all about their duty. That's when those, Emperor, forgive me, preachers came. They started riling everyone up. Sure enough, we shot at people, but they just kept coming. More and more of them. You are doing fine work, Malgar, and so are your troops. It's people like you that hold the Imperium together. I live to serve. Do you happen to know if a member of the Inquisition has come here? At the word Inquisition, the sergeant's face fills with awe. I don't know, ma'am. There definitely haven't been any visitors like that on my watch. You might have to inquire at the headquarters, your ladyship. I am going to see the governor. If I may report, ma'am, as long as the rebels keep shooting their damned anti-aircraft battery, there's absolutely no way to shuttle you to the governor. It would have to be on foot, and the streets are dangerous. I have no one to send with you as an escort. I assigned all available troops to accompany the esteemed tech priest to the governor. I'll boxcast the orders to them to wait for you, and I'll inform headquarters they better send out a convoy to meet you halfway. Meanwhile, we will follow the governor's orders and hold the line here. You're a good soldier, but you've got a lot of blood on your hands, both yours and others. You know, the same hand that salutes now might falter in darkness. Rank and epaulets won't save you from the bitterness. Pardon me, my lady, but I can't get my head around these fancy words you're saying. I've seen plenty of blood, but trust me, I'll fight till my last. What tech priests? A very important person from the Adeptus Mechanicus arrived on the last shuttle before they locked down the sky. He kept on asking whether anyone by the name of Amarant or Amarnat or something like that had recently arrived. Barely answered any of our questions, though. Said he was under no obligation to tell us anything. He demanded to talk to the governor personally, so I had to send a quarter of my troops with him to keep trouble at bay. Is the path ahead dangerous? What exactly awaits me there? All of our roadblocks are gone. The whole place is in the rebels' hands. The city is almost lost, so no help will come. We are all surrounded by rebels. And watch your step, ma'am. The streets are chock full of mines. Great. His remark about the mines lodges into your memory. More than anything, you will need to watch the ground and not your surroundings. You'd rather risk a shot from a rebel or a jittery soldier than experience a few handfuls of lethal frag shrapnel resting on top of some 300 grams of explosive Visaline. You're a good soldier, Malgar. I will see that your heroism is noted. I live to serve. Another explosion interrupts the sergeant's words. With a sigh of relief, he turns to his soldiers and spits out a booming series of commands. Alright. Get all the loops. Anyway, this is where we're going to stop for today. I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It means a lot, helps the channel grow, and I do appreciate it. Until next time, love you guys. Hope to see you again soon. Take care, and I will talk to you later. Bye for now.